Good afternoon. I'm Gordon Stewart. I'm with the Comox Valley Horticultural Society. Welcome to our 2021 virtual open garden tours. And this year, we've added garden chores. And we're very pleased to have Frank, who is our bonsai master, as you can see. And he also chairs the grow and show table when we do have in-person meetings of the club. But he's going to show us how to spray with dormant oil and lime sulfur spray. And he's going to tell us why we're doing it and why we're doing it at this particular time of year, and why it's so important here on the coast. Frank.
Thanks, Gordon. Yeah, some people I know have probably not heard of using lime sulfur. If you come from other parts of Canada, it's not as important. Why it's so important here is this is really a good preventative measure against the many fungal diseases that hit our fruit trees. Things like smuts, rusts, leaf curl on peaches. There's a whole litany of fungal diseases, and we have the perfect climate for that here. Over the winter, we don't get very cold, but we stay wet. Fungi love that. So this is a good preventative measure for your fruit trees, done in the spring, when the trees are totally dormant, because you don't want to put this stuff where there's live leaves or freshly emerging buds. It's always usually sold as a pair. You often get the lime sulfur and the dormant oil together as a kit. Sometimes you buy them separate, but they're usually applied together as a mixture. So I'm going to make up a concoction, and I'm going to use a little hose end sprayer. Now this works on the pressure from your hose, and it's a perfectly fine sprayer, but you need a hose attachment to it. So if you have many fruit trees or a large acreage, this is not the way to go. Back sprayer or one of the hand pump sprayers, readily available. They give you much more mobility, and if you have a larger area, that's the way to go. But for myself, I'm right in town, a little urban lot, so this works fine for me, and you'll see we only have 2 fruit trees, so this will be fine. I'm going to mix this up. Just to say a few words, people are sometimes concerned of the safety of any sprays. Lime sulfur has been used for hundreds of years. It's not one of these new dangerous pesticides. It's proven to work, and in fact it can even be used. It's approved by the Canadian organic growers, so you can keep your organic rating if that's the way you go and still use lime sulfur. It's perfectly acceptable. Saying that, it is a pesticide, so you want to respect it. Starting with storage, obviously you don't want your kids getting into it, you don't want your pets getting into it. Store it in a safe place. Another feature that I've learned the hard way is that lime sulfur does not take well to cold temperatures. So I store many things in my garden shed. Don't put this in your garden shed if it's going to freeze. You want to keep it from freezing, because otherwise the sulfur precipitates out, and instead of a solution you get chunks of sulfur sitting on the bottom of it, which are good for nothing. So that's about it for safety, other than, well, of course, when you're spraying it, I'll show you, you don't want to spray it where anything other than what you're spraying is going to get soaked by it. So you don't want other plants. Some are fine, but some, like the conifers with the evergreen needles, will not like being sprayed with this. So cover them up or move them. Also, you don't want to spray this near a painted wall. It can fade the paint. So with that, I'm going to mix this up. I won't give you exact mixture ratios because it's going to vary depending on the pump and sprayer you're using.
So Frank,
yes,
that was one question that I had.
Yeah.
Being new at this, and we do have apple trees that we do need to spray ourselves, but I bought one package, but we have 5 apple trees, and I just didn't know if I needed to buy 2 or 3 packages of the spray in order to fully spray all of the 5 trees?
I think that if it's this size, this would be fine. This will do. This would probably last you 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll see. I'm going to be putting in 4 capfuls of this and 2 of the dormant oil.
As per the instructions.
As per the instructions, and they're, whenever you buy these, there'll be instructions on the bottle. So follow them. But depending on the type of sprayer you're using and the setting you've got it at, the amount you're using, the exact mixture is going to vary. So follow the instructions.
Is there any danger of putting too much on?
Well, yeah. If it's highly concentrated, like it is now, it's a strong oxidant. So as I told you before, it is used in bonsai to bleach wood. As you can see behind me here, this wood, lime sulfur is used to bleach it and to make it look very old. So it does in 24 hours what nature will take 100 years to do. So that's the strength of using it pure, but we're not using it anywhere near pure. We're using it very diluted. Okay, almost done here. 4 of those and 2 of the others. So now I'm going to add the horticultural oil. Not nearly as pretty as the lime sulfur. And by the way, lime sulfur smells. So after you spray it, you'll probably notice a few days walking through your fruit trees, you have this sulfur smell. That's normal. Now I'm wearing gloves and a mask, so I'm taking some precautions here. This is not a really scary pesticide, but nevertheless, it is a pesticide and you want to treat it with respect. Okay, so this mixture is made up and we'll go into the side garden and have a look at spraying our 2 fruit trees.
There, now it did. Okay.
Hello, well we're here in my side garden where the apple trees are. I have 2 apple trees here. One's a Gravenstein and the other one's a Spartan. And they've both been in the ground about 15 years. And we're going to treat these with lime sulfur today. Before we do that, I just want to point out a couple of things. You can see here, these have been pruned. And pruning pile here of twigs and pruning material that have come off it, and we prune before we spray, just for why spray something that's going to come off. So just use less spray and your spray is more effective in penetrating. So maybe it's not imperative, but it's probably a good idea to prune before, do your spring pruning before you spray, just before you spray. What else? Oh, we have some plants here that are in the spray zone, and I don't want to move these just yet. These are where I store some of my bonsai over the winter. I put them on the ground and with leaves around them to give them some protection from the cold, and they're right under the spray zone. So I'm going to cover these up, and I'll get Gordon to give me a hand here, and we'll put some plastic over these. So because when you spray, you only want to spray your target, which in this case are the 2 apple trees. Get into that, Gordon. Yeah. Okay, we're just about to spray these 2 trees here, but before we do, I just want to talk about the timing. This is called dormant oil, lime sulfur dormant oil spray, because it's done when the trees are dormant. How can you tell your tree is dormant? It has no leaves on it. So in here in Courtenay, it's any time from the middle of November till halfway through March. So any time through that period of time is a good time to spray, And generally, you want to spray twice. You know, spread it apart a week or two or even longer. But 2 sprays per winter is sort of standard practice. Now a little bit more on the day. As you can see here, we have a nice sunny day, so the tree is dry. You want a dry tree. You don't want to be spraying with rain coming down, washing your spray off. You want the spray to dry on the tree. So we have a nice sunny day here in February, and it's supposed to be nice tomorrow as well. So that'll let the spray dry on the tree where it can do its work, removing fungi and killing insect eggs and all the other things that lime sulfur does. Notice the yellow color. That's lime sulfur. You can really see that in the sun. So what I'm doing is trying to cover the whole tree. Shake this up a little bit as you go, because you want to keep that mixture of the dormant oil mixed in with the lime sulfur. And you can see I've got to get good coverage, I've got to go around the tree, and with the hose that's a bit of a pain. So if you've got lots of trees and a big acreage, you'll definitely want to look at a different type of sprayer than rather this hose sprayer. So this works fine, it just makes it a little more difficult. Okay, that's pretty much it for one tree. We'll get the other one now. Lime sulfur in all the cracks of the trunk, because a lot of insects in our climate overwinter there. So that looks pretty good in terms of coverage. I think we've got it all. It's in the sunshine. It's going to dry quickly, nicely, and it should be effective.